Speaking of taking the lead, we want to welcome in to the show here on Dukes and Bell, Atlanta's #1 sports station, its #1 sports show, Quin Snyder, the new head coach of our Atlanta Hawks. Congratulations, Coach. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you, guys. Excited to be here and the opportunity, excited to work with Landry and the players, Kyle, a lot of people that I respect and feel good about having a chance to be here in the city of Atlanta.
Coach, I heard you say today relationships. I loved your comment earlier about, relationships allow you to coach them. And I'm assuming you mean stars and players effectively. And one of the big things for us here in Atlanta has been building this bridge for our coaches as they've come and gone. And I'm curious, how do you plan to do that with Trey? He's the biggest star in the city. Everybody wants this to work. Everybody wants to see this team take the next step. I know you've only got 20 games, but as you said, that process starts now. How do you do that, and what are you planning on doing?
Well, it's a great question. And, I think as a starting point, I think it's important for me, to form my own relationships and opinions, whether that be of players, coaches, anyone that you come in contact with that you don't have experience with. I think that's, very important for Trey and for the other guys, on the team. That part of the, the second part of the question, talking about the last 20 games, I think that's really a big part of why I took the job. And also, when I say took the job, decided that I would come in here and finish now, because there's a lot of things to work through, and it's such an unusual situation. There's not a playbook for it per se, but my feeling was, in spite of the challenges that exist, that even those, to have an opportunity to go through that with the players, whether it's a big win, a big loss, a certain play, something involved in execution, anything, timeout, all those windows are kind of, teachable moments, for lack of a better word. And, to be here and be a part of it, you guys know, this league's competitive, and it's tough, and it's demanding. And, you hear coaches and players talk about, a foxhole. And for me to be in that with the guys, I think that provides an opportunity for growth. And, you really get to know. I hope we don't have to go through a lot of hard times, but, even in 20 games, you find challenges. And those are the times that you have a chance to find out more about each other.
Technically we are into playoffs. It's just the play-in games right now. Obviously, the fans want to get us. No offense, Coach. You get us in that 6th seed, we'll be making a statue of you. It's Quin Snyder with us here on the WadeFord.com hotline. How quickly things kind of moved, and we heard your name was mentioned, was linked to the Hawks nationally. What made this so attractive? Was it the relationship between Kyle Korver and Landry? Was that at the top of the list?
Yeah, it was relationships. I think, initially when I talked to Kyle and he asked me, would I have an interest and what level, and I did, and it was a strong interest. And, and obviously I know Kyle and trust him, but I talked to Landry quickly after that, and the conversations that I had with him, it started out more big picture, that there just seemed to be alignment. I think both those guys are bright. It's not insignificant that they have experience as players. I think that is something that they can lean on and can be unique. You go down the list of certain things that I think, are part of building a program. I say program, it's kind of excellence over a period of time. And that doesn't mean that we're waiting to be competitive. This year is paramount to that, because I think it's an opportunity. Anytime you're involved in an intense situation, whether it's success, failure, scrutiny, you can learn about one another, and you have a chance to grow. So, with Kyle and Landry, you felt that, and then as we, continued to talk, I think that, that alignment is what allows you to be good, because you don't know. The one thing that we know about this league is that there's just constant change. It's such a dynamic league, and to have that alignment and trust, and I felt like that was something that we could have, particularly over time as we even work together longer, and that's one of the reasons I was excited about the opportunity.
Hawks new coach Quin Snyder here on Dukes and Bell. Quinn, we know you don't stop stars in this league, but when you're with the Jazz, you guys allowed the fewest points per game. You were fifth in fewest field goals allowed, top 5 rebounding. I know the personnel's different, but a lot of Hawks fans are wondering, Quinn, what's your defensive philosophy? How do we get better defensively with our team and what you bring? Because you come from that where your teams play defense. You slowed stars down in this league.
Well, I had a defensive player of the year, and he made me look pretty good at some point. And I'm not saying that we're not going to work on that, but you mentioned it before that players make plays, we like to say, and sometimes you can drop a really.
Rudy's pretty good. We know.
Yeah, right. So, but I do think every situation is different, and that's one of the things is you kind of feel the personnel. And you look to even if there's some subtle things that sometimes with different players, and there's other ones where a certain type of you're not going to run the ball if you don't have a good offensive line, and you can't throw the ball if you don't have good receivers, no matter how good your quarterback might be. So I got to go with a football analogy here in Georgia when the Dogs are really good, right?
Right.
But, so it's the point is you have to, I think, develop a style of play, whether it be defense or offense, that is conducive to your personnel. And ultimately, that process for a coach, it's really about optimizing what you have and what you can do. And in doing that, I think it starts with emphasis, and that's one of the things I think, that happens over time, but it's also something that, that you get a chance to focus on. How much, we try to move the needle as much as we can, but a lot of times those things are gradual as far as habits and repetition and your identity generally. But it's something certainly, you focus on, and our team may play differently on the defensive end because our personnel is different. But there's some things that are consistent, throughout the league with good defensive teams. There's no question about that.
It is Quin Snyder, guys, the new head coach of your Atlanta Hawks, and you did a great job with Donovan Mitchell. We've got 2 great point guards, and the problem has been when you got 2 guys that are ball dominant, trying to make it work. I know that you said you're going to evaluate, and you've got to go quickly and try to get to forge relationships and see what these guys are doing. But how intrigued are you by having a combination like Trae and DeJounte?
Yeah, it's really an exciting, part of the job for me. And you mentioned, Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley, and I think, both Trae and DeJounte are capable of playing without the ball as well, and to try to put them in situations, where they can share and do that and make each other better. And again, I'm very cognizant of the fact that I think we need to be careful trying to reinvent the wheel. The last 2 games, the way we've played, Joe's done a terrific job. Players, sharing the ball, coming together. There's some things, hopefully, that you see that you have success in that you try to continue to do, and then do it more and do it better. And those guys, that kind of chemistry comes, over time. And again, it's another thought that I had about being able to really feel that and get a chance to watch film with guys and emphasize certain things, teach them, coach them, and those 2 guys certainly are really good players.
While we're talking about Donovan Mitchell, Trae got a chance to visit with him. According to a Woj report, that Mitchell basically told Trae, "Hey, you're getting a really good one in Quin Snyder, third person." Sorry, I'm talking about you, Coach, right there. But the fact is, that they've spoken, and I'm curious. Every star is different. What did you feel like you did for Donovan Mitchell that maybe can translate to Trae?
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head as far as every star and every player, frankly, is different, and they need different things from you as a coach. I think it's important to kind of try to identify what those things are. I think it's important to know the player and how he sees those things, and that communication to come together and have kind of a shared vision of a guy's growth. And if you think a player needs to do something to get better and he doesn't think it, they're not going to embrace it the way that you want them to, and it's not going to happen. So I think that process of really explaining why is important. And in Donovan's case, like Trey, I mean, they're gifted players, and I think understanding why really is foundational as far as getting someone to buy into what it's not what you're doing, it's what you're doing together. And that's when I think you make strides, and those guys that want to be better and want to be coached.
Hey, speaking of coaching, as Quin Snyder joins us here, guys, how does it work with this when you plug in? You got a staff that's already there. I know Joe Prunty was the interim, so conversations already with those guys. And are you going to be sitting there drawing stuff up, or are you going to be? How's that interaction going to work?
Well, you mentioned first of all, Joe and the job that he did under the circumstances. You have a lot of respect for him, and these guys are pros. Jamel, Longo, all these guys, Nick. There's a staff that knows how to work together, and I'd be crazy if I came in and didn't lean on them. And that's what I intend to do. And at the same time, letting them know and communicating to them some of the things that I see, and there'll be more of them as I see the team play more, that collectively, they can help me emphasize with the group. So as far as like ATOs and out of bounds plays and stuff like that, I don't want to overload our players. I think each game for me, there's a process there. As far as what you're doing in a game, what you think you can do, there's a building process there. Something as simple as terminology. If I come in and start calling something different, I'm not sure that helps the guys, and it really that's the pulse that all of us need to take. And I think the guys on the staff, with their corporate knowledge and relationships with the guys, are a big part of that. And it's why I'm glad all those guys are here and ready to help me.
Quin, before we let you go, Coach Quin Snyder joining us, guys. I was speaking with Coach Bud about you last night. He was ranting and raving about the person you are. And he was talking about, the individual, how organized you are and all these things that we're getting. And I'm just curious, do you still talk to Coach K? I know you were there, 85 to 89, 3 Final Fours, but through your coaching career, what's your relationship with Coach K?
It's a really, really good one. I'm lucky. He's someone that, to kind of compare it, 20 games, 4 years, certainly the differences are greater than the similarities. But I think that what I'm driving at is the things that we went through together, that fire that makes steel, to tap into that somewhat. And that's what I had with him, the experiences that we had and the support that I had from him. And, he told me the truth. He always said that. And, that's something that I've tried to do, is just to be transparent. You can be transparent and say hard things. I think you can do it respectfully. And, that honesty, I think, is when you make progress. So that, those are things that Coach K did for me, and our relationship, over the years. I obviously don't see him that much, but we do keep in touch via text and calls and things of that nature. So, like I said, I'm fortunate, and I was fortunate to be here with Bud. One of the things that to me has been unique that I've had a chance to do is I had to move 5 times in 5 years. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen here. But I was with Bud in his first year. I was with Mike Brown in his first year. I was with Doug Collins in his first year. I had all these experiences where people were walking into something new, and your challenges at the outset, and how you meet them, impact you down the road. And so, this is different than that because, this is, I don't got the archives, but I don't know that this is happening a whole lot where someone's coming in with 20 games and, my eyes are open to what a challenge that is. But I think it's worth it, no matter what the results are. And, I say that in the same breath, I think, we want to win games and we want to put our best foot forward. And I really believe the way to do that is even under kind of crazy circumstances to just try to get better and be in the moment and play together and, and compete.
We're happy to have you. Coach, congratulations. Looking forward to our
I'm happy to be here, guys. Thank you.
I know.
Thank you.
I know you are. Appreciate the conversation. Looking forward to visiting with you. And good luck tomorrow against the Wizards, Coach. Thanks again.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. That's Quin Snyder, guys.